Now let's take a look at the question. Sympathetic neural system. Options are increases heart rate, increases secretion of saliva and digestive juices, activates adrenal gland to meet an emergency. Option D, both A and C. Now, what is a sympathetic neural system? It is a division of the human neural system. The human neural system can be divided into the central neural system, which is abbreviated as CNS, and the central neural system includes the brain and the spinal cord, and there is the peripheral neural system. The peripheral neural system includes all of the nerves that arise from our brain and our spinal cord, and the peripheral neural system is abbreviated as PNS. Now, the peripheral neural system is further categorized into autonomic neural system, which is abbreviated as ANS, and the somatic neural system. Now, the autonomic neural system has nerves that are controlling the involuntary activities of our body, whereas the somatic neural system is in control of the voluntary activities of the body. The autonomic neural system, which controls the involuntary actions, is further classified into sympathetic neural system and parasympathetic neural system. Okay, so both these act together, but usually they have opposite effects and they will influence the involuntary activities of our body. This question is about the sympathetic neural system. One of the most important functions of the sympathetic neural system is to activate or trigger the fight or flight response. The fight or flight response is our body's way of overcoming a stressful or an emergency situation. Okay, so it prepares our body to act very rapidly and appropriately under threat. Okay, so some of the functions of the sympathetic nervous system are given here. Firstly, it increases the heartbeat and blood pressure. When the heart rate increases, what happens? The heart is pumping blood more often than normal. Okay, so due to which there's more blood supply to all of our tissues and muscles, and with blood oxygen, there's more oxygen also that is being delivered. So whenever there's a stressful or a threatening situation, if a person has to fight that situation or flee from that situation, there's more energy required, due to which the heart rate will increase, and as a result, blood supply to all of our tissues will also increase. Now, next, it reduces the secretion of saliva and digestive juices. Now, whenever our body is focusing on survival to escape a emergency situation, then the energy that is used in the process of digestion is redirected to the process of fighting. Okay, so the energy that is used for the secretion of saliva and other digestive juices, that can be used in order to escape from that situation. Okay, so due to which there is a reduction in the secretion of saliva and the digestive juices. Another thing it does is it activates the adrenal glands. Where are the adrenal glands present? I'm sure you know that renal refers to the kidneys. Adrenal glands are glands that are present above our kidneys, and it secretes a hormone, a very important hormone for the flight and fight response, which is known as adrenaline. Okay, so the sympathetic neural system, by means of its nerves, will stimulate the adrenal glands to produce adrenaline hormone so that the emergency can be met. It helps in relaxation of the urinary bladder. This is one of the functions. It increases the secretion of our sweat glands. Now, whenever there's high blood pressure and you're trying to escape from a situation or fight an emergency situation, there is a lot of heat that is generated in the body, and the sweat acts like an inbuilt air conditioner in our body. Okay, so it tries to cool our body down. So that is why there is an increase in the secretion of our sweat glands during emergency. It plays a major role in the dilation of pupil. Now, what is the pupil? Pupil is this opening that is present in the colored part of our eye, which is known as the iris. It is by means of pupil that light enters our eyes. Okay, and that is how we are able to see. Now, whenever there's an emergency or a stressful situation, you might want to look at your surroundings more clearly to spot the source of the threat, okay, due to which your pupils will dilate, allowing more light to enter your eyes so that you can see your surroundings clearly and act appropriately and rapidly, okay. So it temporarily decreases peristalsis. Peristalsis is a type of movement that we can see in the digestive tract, where there's a wave-like contraction and relaxation of the digestive tract. So that also is temporarily decreased, similar to reduction in secretion of digestive juices. So the digestive system is suppressed, and it constricts the peripheral blood vessels. Some examples for peripheral blood vessels are blood vessels that are found in our limbs. Okay, so there is a constriction of the peripheral blood vessels. These are some of the functions performed by the sympathetic neural system. Okay, so in this question, we are asked to identify which are the functions. In the option A, we have increases heart rate. That is very true. Option B, increases secretion of saliva and digestive juices. This is incorrect because it does not increase it, it decreases it, so that that energy can be used for something more important and urgent at that moment. Activates adrenal glands to meet an emergency. This also is correct. So the correct answer to this question is option D, both A and C. Now let's take a look at the question. Which of the following is not strictly considered a part of the neuron? Options are dendrites, myelin sheath, Nissel's granules, and option D, synaptic knob. Let us first look at the structure of neuron to understand its different parts. The neuron is the structural and functional unit of our neural system. It is composed of three major parts. The first part is the cell body. The cell body contains maximum of the cytoplasm. It has the nucleus, and most organelles are present in the cell body. The cell body is also known as the soma or the cyton. Okay. There are many extensions, short branched extensions that arise from the cell body. These extensions here. Now these are known as dendrites. Okay, so dendrites are short branched fibers arising from the cell body. Their function is to transmit impulses to the cell body. Like I already mentioned, cell body is also known as the soma. It is composed of cytoplasm, having cell organelles, and it also has some granules known as Nissel's granules present in the cytoplasm. Now, these Nissel's granules are made up of rough endoplasmic reticulum. There is endoplasmic reticulum that has ribosome present on its surface. Along with that, there are some free ribosomes also that we can find in the ultrastructure of Nissel's granules. When you take a closer look at the Nissel's granules, you can see that it's made up of rough endoplasmic reticulum along with some free ribosomes. So that also is a part of the nephron, of the neuron. The Nissel's granules, because there are ribosomes there, it is the site of protein synthesis. Now, the long extension that is arising from the cell body, that is known as the axon, and this is the third most important part of the neuron. It is a long process of the neuron. Its distal end is branched. Now, this is the proximal end, closer to the cell body. Proximity is closeness. So, this end of the axon is known as the proximal end, and this end is known as the distal end. Okay, so at the distal end, you can see how it is branched, right? And at the end of these branches, you can find a swelling of sorts. It's slightly expanded. Now, that is known as the synaptic knob. Okay. Now, these synaptic knob will contain certain vesicles that are carrying neurotransmitters, and those vesicles are known as synaptic vesicles. So, the dendrites are a part of the neuron. Axon is a part of the neuron. Nissel's granules are found in the neuron. Synaptic knob also is a part of the neuron. What is not a part of the neuron is the myelin sheath. Now, myelin sheath is composed of another type of cell that is known as Schwann cells. Okay, so these Schwann cells, their cytoplasm will form almost flat structures, and these cells will roll around the axon like a carpet. Okay, so then that is called the myelin sheath. There are neurons that exist without the myelin sheath as well. So myelin sheath is not considered strictly a part of the neuron. This is because there are neurons which are devoid of myelin sheath, and such kind of neurons are known as unmyelinated neurons. So depending upon whether the Schwann cells are forming myelin sheath or not, you have two different types of neurons. The ones that have the myelin sheath are called myelinated neurons, and the ones that do not have the myelin sheath is known as unmyelinated neurons. Now, the myelinated neurons, like I mentioned, consist of Schwann cells which form a myelin sheath around the axon. Now, it does not indicate that the unmyelinated neurons do not have Schwann cells. The unmyelinated neurons also show the presence of Schwann cells, but it's just that the Schwann cells do not roll around and form the myelin sheath. Okay, so unmyelinated neurons is enclosed by Schwann cells, but it does not form a myelin sheath around the axon. Now, these unmyelinated axons can be found in the autonomic and the somatic neural system. So, in this question, we were asked which of the following is not strictly a part of the neuron. Now we know that the correct answer is myelin sheath, which is option B. Here's the question. Nodes of Ranvier is the place where options are myelin sheath and neurilemma are discontinuous, axolemma is absent, axolemma is discontinuous. Option D, myelin sheath is discontinuous. Now, what is the nodes of Ranvier? You can see how in myelinated neurons there are cells known as Schwann cells that will roll around the axon and form a sheath of sorts known as the myelin sheath. Okay, so the myelin sheath along the axon, it is not a continuous sheath. There are gaps between the myelin sheath, and these gaps between two adjacent myelin sheath is what is known as nodes of Ranvier. As you can see here, this is one Schwann cell, this is the second Schwann cell. You can think of this as one Schwann cell, this is the second Schwann cell. I told you how it is going around the axon, like it's rolling around the axon and forming a sheath. That is the myelin sheath. Here you can see the nucleus of the Schwann cell. Okay, you can see how the sheath is not complete or continuous, and there are regions in the neuron where the myelin sheath is absent. Okay, so those regions on the axon where the myelin sheath is absent between two adjacent Schwann cells is known as the node of Ranvier. Now, in the options, there was a mention of neurilemma and axolemma. Now, what is neurilemma? Neurilemma is the cytoplasmic sheath of the Schwann cell. Okay, so this Schwann cell will have a cytoplasmic sheath throughout. That is the outermost layer of the axonal part of the neuron, and this cytoplasmic sheath will be present at the node of Ranvier. So it is present around the myelin sheath of the axon, and it is continuously present even at the nodes of Ranvier. Axolemma, axon, lemma is membranous. So axolemma is the cell membrane of the axon. The cell membrane present in the axon, that is the axolemma. So even that is continuous. So the node of Ranvier is a place where only the myelin sheath is missing. At that point, you will find the neurilemma as well as the axolemma. Okay, so the correct answer to this question is option D. Here's the question. The synaptic vesicles discharge, the options are acetylcholine, adrenaline, epinephrine, and option D, all of the above. Now, there is something called a synapse. A synapse is also known as neuronal junction. Now, these are junctions between two or more neurons where impulse from one neuron gets transmitted to the other. Okay, so for convenience sake, I'm going to take two neurons here. There's one neuron here and another neuron here. So the information here is passing from this first neuron to the second neuron. Now, this junction here between the first neuron and the second neuron is what we call a neuronal junction or the synapse. At the synapse, you can see the axon terminal of this first neuron and the dendrite of the second neuron. Okay, since this is called the synapse, the neuron from which the impulse is being transmitted is known as the presynaptic neuron. Pre means before. So this neuron is present before the synapse, right? And the postsynaptic neuron, which is receiving the information from the presynaptic neuron, is the postsynaptic neuron. Okay, so here at the synapse, you can find the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron and the dendrite of the postsynaptic neuron. So if you can see, this is the axon terminal and if this is the dendrite, there is a small space that exists between the membranes of the presynaptic and the postsynaptic neurons, which is known as the synaptic cleft. Okay, so synapse is the junction between two or more communicating neurons, and the neuron from which the information is being passed is called the presynaptic neuron, and the neurons that receive the information, it is known as the postsynaptic neuron. At the synapse, you have the axon terminal of the presynaptic neuron and the dendrite of the postsynaptic neuron. There is a small space that exists between the membranes of these two, which is known as the synaptic cleft. Okay, so here you can see how there is in the neuron at the axon terminal, you have slight bulged surface at the branches of the axon terminal that are known as synaptic knobs. Okay, so these bulbous extensions or structures present at the tips of the branches of axon terminal, they are known as synaptic knobs. And within these synaptic knobs, you can see how it is enlarged here. So this is the synaptic knob. Within that, you find vesicles. These are known as synaptic vesicles, and within the synaptic vesicles, we can find chemicals known as neurotransmitters. And one of the ways in which neurons communicate with each other is by means of these chemicals known as neurotransmitters. Okay, synaptic vesicles contain neurotransmitters. Some of the examples are acetylcholine, GABA, which is short for gamma aminobutyric acid, glycine, neuropeptides, catecholamines. These are some of the chemicals that you can find inside the synaptic vesicles found in the synaptic knobs of neurons. Okay, so acetylcholine will be present in the synaptic vesicles. We have heard about adrenaline, right? Adrenaline is very famous for being a hormone secreted by the adrenal glands, which are found above our kidneys. Another name for adrenaline is epinephrine. So it is a hormone secreted by the adrenal glands. This is what most people know about adrenaline. But adrenaline is also produced by a small number of neurons present in our central nervous system. So when it's produced by the neurons in our central nervous system, it acts like a neurotransmitter and helps in the communication between neurons. Therefore, in the synaptic vesicles, you can even find adrenaline, which is another name for epinephrine. Okay, so let's look at the question. The synaptic vesicles discharge acetylcholine, yes, adrenaline also. It is also known as epinephrine. So the correct answer to this question is option D, all of the above. Here's the question. What is true about unmyelinated nerve fibers? Options are: it is not enclosed by both Schwann cells and myelin sheath, enclosed by a Schwann cell that does not form a myelin sheath, not enclosed by a Schwann cell but enclosed by a myelin sheath. Option D, not found in the autonomic and the somatic neural system. Okay, so what are unmyelinated fibers? Unmyelinated nerve fibers are those which will have Schwann cells. Okay, so the Schwann cells form a groove in which the axon will be present, but in these type of neurons, the Schwann cells do not form a sheath and roll around the axon. Okay, so if the Schwann cells form a sheath of sorts by rolling around the axon, then it is known as myelinated nerve fiber. In unmyelinated nerve fibers, though there is presence of Schwann cells, the Schwann cells do not form that myelin sheath. So these are found in the autonomous and the somatic neural systems. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is unmyelinated nerve fibers. They are enclosed by the Schwann cell, but it does not form a myelin sheath. So, yeah, the correct answer is option B.